And John, as you and I have discussed, ideas are the new currency. And business owners need those ideas to figure out how they're going to bring customers in. But in addition to the ideas, they need facts that back up the ideas. And for my 3 radio stations on Eastern Long Island, we made a very dramatic shift within the last few months. And the first shift is that we canceled Nielsen. And without going off on a tangent on Nielsen, I'll just put it this way, that it was something that we thought we needed to do, most especially from a national standpoint. But national business dropped by 95% over the last few months, and we don't see that coming back anytime soon. And that's on top of the huge hit that we took locally. So we made a conscious decision to part company with Nielsen, and we made a very conscious decision to pick up Pulse Research. And what I really like about Pulse Research, and what my sellers really like about Pulse Research, is that it captures the shopping and purchasing intentions of our listeners in the next 3 months. So we are able to go into many, many, many different businesses and talk about their products, their services, their business types, and project to them the opportunities that exist in this marketplace over the course of the next 3 upcoming months. Now, there was an instance very, very recently, and I told John about this. The first hit, so to speak, that we got off of using Pulse Research is with the Tanger Outlet Center. Tanger owns a number of outlet shopping centers across the United States. They're a very, very big company. And Riverhead, New York, has the largest outlet shopping center in the United States. And I would say about 3 years ago, they went very, very corporate with their marketing, which meant that the advertising decisions for Tanger Outlet Center were no longer handled by the general manager here locally. They were turned over to, quote unquote, the marketing director at the corporate office. And in a nutshell, we got cut off from the buy. There was no local input whatsoever. There was a change in the marketing director at Tanger Corporate very, very recently. And I guess they went through some old files, found information about my radio stations, and they reached out to us to let us know there was a new marketing person. And can you give us your most recent Nielsen numbers? Well, we told them we canceled Nielsen for whatever it's worth. For whatever it's worth, Nielsen showed that we are the #1 audio company on Eastern Long Island. But more important than Nielsen numbers, and much more important than us being the #1 audio company, and since I canceled Nielsen, I can't show you those numbers anymore, but I've got something that I think is going to be a lot better. And we presented that media director with information from Pulse Research, which showed the households in our area right under the nose of Tanger Outlet Center and how many of those people intended on doing retail shopping in the next 90 days. And for the first time in over 3 years, we got on the buy for Tanger Outlet Center.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
And that's just the first success story that we've had using Pulse Research. I do want to say that, like anything, when you're teaching something new to your sellers, most especially your longtime sellers who are into certain habits and into certain ways of selling, you need to monitor them as you're introducing Pulse. You know, it's the old saying, employees respect what management inspect. Employees respect what management inspects. So we had to make it very clear on more than one occasion that the loss of the Nielsen numbers is permanent. We're not going to subscribe anymore. That resource is gone. And oh, by the way, we've got what we believe is a better resource. It's going to be giving us the ability to show local business owners the intention of shoppers in the next 90 days. We think this is more valuable, and here's the information. So it took a little bit of coaxing to get our salespeople into the Pulse training, and took a little bit of coaxing for them to start using that. But once they got into the groove of using Pulse, it's now an active part of their day-to-day selling, and that's a very, very good thing.
Well, thank you so much, Stefan, for sharing your success stories. And it's an honor on behalf of Pulse, to assist and support you during these, as you note, and everybody else is fully aware, these very challenging times. Does anybody have any questions, of Stefan? All you have to do is just unmute your microphone. He said he'd be more than happy to answer any questions. And then we'll go to Scott Summerlin, who's got some thoughts this morning. So any questions for Stefan?
If anybody's got questions that they think of after this phone call, you can email me at Stefan, Stefan, Stefan at libroadcasting.com, Stefan at libroadcasting.com. If you think of questions after the webinar, or you want to ask a question just one-on-one, please email me. I'll be more than happy to communicate with you.
Well, thank you so much for that offer, Stefan. We really appreciate it. Now
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Scott Summerlin from the Hudson Valley area, and some conversations I've had with Scott. He's shared with me some ideas he's thought on identifying leads, through the Pulse program. And so, Scott, thanks again for the opportunity to be on your team, but also for joining us this morning. So appreciate your thoughts, Scott.
Thank you, John, for the opportunity to be able to use Pulse. I guess, as we came out of April, and I don't know, when did we have access to Pulse? Was it mid-May?
I think earlier mid-May, Scott, yes.
Okay. So as we were all coming back after, hanging out at home for the month of April, or the 6 weeks there, the salespeople were basically like zombies, just like walking around aimlessly without any direction or any clue as far as who they should call or what they should say. And it was really hard because, we've got 17 sellers here that are just, walking around trying to figure this thing out and trying to call from their desk, because obviously, all we're doing is Zooming and, maybe the occasional face-to-face. But Pulse gave us the ability to, number one, identify the businesses and to the good, right? The businesses that are actually succeeding and doing well. So that's a whole list of people and positive things that, we weren't privy to, other than, whatever prospecting people were doing. But to actually see the numbers and the growth in sales gave them the confidence to call somebody and say, you know what, I hear you figured it out. I hear you're doing better than other industries. And so the ability to call these people that are doing well, and a lot of them, are like, Jesus, we're too busy, or we're way backed up. So we've been living through that because people have been trying to clear. I had a driveway guy who's got 3 months of work backed up. So it's a little hard to sell advertising to him. So there's the people that are in the plus category that are doing exceptionally well, and at least you can call them and talk about, and this is a whole other benefit, is to be able to call someone and say, can you tell me what you're doing and what's making your business propel and to be in the plus side? So getting information and intel from people that are figuring it out is very powerful, because you can take that to other like clients. And then you got the below, right? The negative side of the thing, and where the people are fledgling and they're not doing well. And, just call them and say, I see your industry's taking a beating, but I have some numbers here that show some positivity, which I'd love to share with you. So basically what Pulse has done for us is giving these guys the confidence to have conversations as opposed to calling, because in the beginning it was like, if you called and said, hey, you have any marketing needs, or would you like to buy some radio, you're going to get, they got completely slapped down. It's like, how dare you call me and ask me to spend money during these times? So it gave them the confidence to be able to speak to these advertisers, about things about their business where they weren't going to get slapped down, and that it might, and there are situations where they've led to sales and they've led to more conversations, or they've led to buying some of our digital products. So that's basically what Pulse has done for us. It's really given them the confidence and the ability to load their, put arrows in their quiver and get out there with confidence and make these phone calls and make these connections. Because before that, what you were reading the paper, which was all negative, and there was really no positivity, and there was nothing to really sink your teeth into. So I really thank you for sharing this tool with us, because it really makes a difference in their day. It's not fun sitting at your desk trying to figure out who to call, and then when you pick up the phone and you call someone, they basically rip you a new one. So it's been a great tool. So again, I'm very appreciative to have it.
Well, thank you so much, Scott. On behalf of Pulse, we appreciate you. Any questions for Scott? If you'd like to share your email, Scott, so people can.
Sure, it's ssummerlin@pamel.com. So that's SSUMMERLIN @PAMEL.com.
Thank you so much, Scott. Now I'd like to introduce Karen McCracken. Karen is from North Carolina, and she's joined us this morning. And Karen, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be with us and sharing some thoughts and ideas.
Well, Scott pretty much said the same thing, that what we've been doing is that the Pulse has opened the door for conversation, that as we go to businesses, that we actually have something different to say that is helpful to them, particularly say, hey, here's what we found out, and here's how we can work together to take advantage of these certain areas, specifically, such as you're selling clothes. Well, you can look at specifically children's clothes or men's apparel or scarves. And so it opens the door for conversation about targeted marketing, which in radio, that's what we promote, is we have a targeted marketing plan. So that's what's been most helpful for us, is opening the door for conversation.
And that's a beautiful thing. And it's like Scott said, they slap you down when you say, how dare you ask me for money during this time? So Karen, you're right on. It starts the conversation. And that's what I've been hearing, frankly, across the country from broadcasters. In today's world, it starts the conversation on a positive opportunity, the benefit for the business. Karen, anything else you'd like to add this morning?
That's pretty much it. Pulse has been a great resource for helping us to reach out in a different way. I also like the tools that we have on the site for how to initiate the conversation, through flyers, through the teasers, through the emails, where everything is already laid out for us. But it also has the opportunity to tweak it for our own personality or for our own business needs. Especially with the email, you can change the script a little bit, because we know our businesses and we know the people, so we know what kind of language works out for them. So we have a format to work with, but also the option to customize it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Karen. Appreciate it. Gary, is there anything that you'd like to share this morning, or Eric, that some insights and specific solutions that you've heard of recently?
Well, what's really nice to hear, John, is how practical that Pulse Research is for the salespeople. I think many times a lot of research is done for a specific audience that's not really necessarily the salespeople. And that's one of the reasons why we teamed up with you, John, was because of your ability to speak the seller's language. And more importantly, to also be able to speak to the retailers or the service provider with some real meaningful information. So it's just very encouraging to hear these great things that are happening out there. Thank you, each one of you who shared the information.
Well, thank you very much, Gary. We appreciate the opportunity to partner with you. Is there anybody else on the call this morning who would like to share some thoughts and ideas, kind of like a little roundtable here? Would appreciate very much any, additional thoughts, insights, etc. on what's working for you.
Well, John, I was wondering, it's Scott. I was just wondering when we're getting cut off and what Pulse Light is going to be like.
A Pulse Light will be the teaser along with some new functionality on your phone. And I'll send it out to everybody on the call this morning to get your feedback. We recognize that in today's world, time is of the essence. So what we're trying to do with the Pulse Light program is provide you with the ability to start the conversation with the teaser that gets their attention and then leads into the solution that you have. Okay? And I'll be happy to send that out to show you what we're working on for you.
When does the free 2 months end? Because so that would be May, June, July. Is it coming to an end?
Yeah, the program was a 60-day complimentary offer. And so for the initial sellers, not sellers, for the initial broadcasters, the program has ended and will be September 1st for those who would join in that 60-day cycle. Okay.
It's like you got us on crack now, and we're all.
Well, the bottom line is we're doing everything we can, but we're also a business,
I hear you.
And so we appreciate the opportunity to have joined your team, and we want to provide you with an ongoing solution with our compliments and the compliments of LBS. Okay. So it won't be the full program, but it'll give you the ability to access, shopping information with the teaser, so you can continue to start the conversation. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John, would it be appropriate to mention the upcoming research in what's ahead the next few months?
Thank you so much, Gary. Absolutely. The pandemic, as we're all very much aware, continues with absolute uncertainty. So Pulse is launching the next version of the COVID Impact Shopping Survey. And I will also send out to you the information to help us promote the survey. And what we found works best is an email invitation. About 80% of the responses has been through an email invitation. And I understand that many of you have email lists you've generated through contests, etc. So I will send you some examples of some email invitations inviting your audience to go online and take the new updated COVID Impact Shopping Survey. Then that,
Great.
we've got the questions done. We put a lot of time into what business categories should we add because of the pandemic? What categories should we eliminate? So it's a new question base with business categories, products, and service, and it's ready to go. So thank you, Gary, for mentioning that. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to share any ideas or thoughts? Okay, well, thank you so much on behalf of Pulse for the honor and the privilege to support you during these very, very uncertain times. And Gary and Eric, once again, we appreciate the opportunity to partner with you. And for those of you who've taken the time, Stefan, Scott, and Karen, for sharing your specific suggestions, ideas, best practices. We truly appreciate you. If I can help in any way, my email is marling, MARLING, @pulseresearch.com. So on behalf of the
Thank
Pulse,
you very much, John.
thank you, Stefan, and everybody else. Have an absolutely beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
John.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
Thank you.